everybody, and happy Video Monday. Teshia Maher here. This week I want to do a little bit of a fat loss troubleshoot with you. So more than any other question, I receive email after email after email about weight loss. And a lot of time people are expressing that no matter what they do, they just can't lose the weight. And I want to encourage you, if this is the case, to really take an honest look at what you're doing now versus what you were doing when you were at your ideal weight. So, for example, when you were at your ideal weight, were you eating processed foods? If you are trying to lose weight and you feel like you've just reached the stall, that's the first thing you have to look at. If you're eating processed foods, your satiation cues are going to be all whacked out. So you're not going to know when you've eaten enough. You're not going to feel that full feeling. So you got to cut out the processed stuff first. That is the number one thing. If you're eating a whole foods-based diet and that scale just isn't budging, take a look at the next couple things I would say to look at are, first off, are you possibly taking in more than what you need? So are you eating a fair amount of food and also not moving that much? Because even though I don't believe in calorie counting per se, there is, I think, the odd time where, this does come into equation. Calories in, calories out has a little bit of a place here. And if you are eating, a jar of almond butter every 2 days, it's possible that you could be just taking in too much concentrated energy, more than what you are burning. So take a look at that. Is it possible that you're adding, too many tablespoons of oil to each of those meals, or too many tablespoons of almond butter? Is it possible that the 10 bananas in your breakfast smoothie is a little bit excessive? Just saying. Just take a look at that. When you were at your ideal weight, what was different? Were you, for example, doing something a little bit more balanced as opposed to a super low fat diet, a super low carb diet, or something like the 80-10-10 diet? All of these would be, in my opinion anyways, a little bit extreme. And if maybe, when you were at your ideal weight, you weren't doing that. So be careful of kind of buying into some of these dogmas, so to speak. They could be, you feel like you're going to that thing and you're clinging to this thing because you feel like it's the answer, but it could be the very thing that's sabotaging you. So please, you guys, don't be too proud to admit that maybe what you're doing is not working for you and your body. And really, that's what you want. You want the reason that your weight is stuck to be something stupid like this. You don't want it to be hypothyroidism or, some other kind of hormone imbalance. So you want this to be your dumb mistake. So figure out what it is. If you can't figure it out on your own by just looking at it objectively and moving away from extremes like those I just mentioned, as well as moving away from the processed foods, if this still is an issue, please, and I'm not trying to push business on you, but consider working with somebody, whether it be myself or a different nutritionist, to figure out or to help you figure it out, because it can be really hard to take an honest look at ourselves sometimes and at our patterns. Sometimes people, they eat really, really well and clean throughout the day, and then at night is when they might be taking in, like, who knows, like maybe 800 calories, for example, between 7 and 9 p.m. and then going to bed. Now, there's a possibility, even if those were whole food calories, that it was just too much. And, if you stop eating, you shrivel up and you die. So the calories in, calories out, it has a little bit of a part in this. But you have to, again, not attach to counting calories, just like you have to maybe not attach to the low carb, low fat, this, that. Don't attach yourself to anything. You don't need any of that stuff. What you need is to really start to tune in to yourself. Careful with all of the stuff that you're reading and how much to your heart, to your sweet hearts, you're taking all of these things, because you could be just shooting yourself in the foot. And what I really want to say to close this video is, guys, it's possible that it might be so much easier than what you're making it. Maybe you're driving your body into the ground with exercise and under eating, and so your metabolism's slowing down, and then you're binging the next week. Or maybe you're doing that and then your metabolism is slowing so much that then your general total daily energy expenditure is coming to a halt. It could be something like that, or it could be just something silly like you're adding too many tablespoons of olive oil to each of your salads, or it could be something like just being too sedentary and eating too many, just maybe a couple too many handfuls of jelly beans in a day. Like, it might be something so dumb, and it might be something that you're even not seeing. And this is where often keeping a food log can be helpful, because there might be something you're forgetting, like artificial sweeteners or something like that. Like, maybe you're using a ridiculous amount of that, and that stuff does have some calories in it. It doesn't say it on the label, but guess what? It does. So yeah, really look at it objectively, and please today what I want to say is try not to attach to any of these extreme practices, especially if weight loss is the goal. Start simple. Keep it simple to start, at least. Whole foods based diet and tuning into your own natural hunger cues and satiation cues. You might also be somebody who's used to stuffing themselves full, and you might not need that much food. You want to leave the table with a little bit of room in there, enough that you feel satisfied, but not so much that you feel lethargic. So if you're leaving the table every time feeling tired, you might be overdoing it. Again, weight loss isn't linear, but hopefully you're making some dumb mistake. So be open to looking at it, and accept that it might be easier than you're making it. And why not make it easier on yourself?